Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome. Today we are going through May 2018 paper 1, and just to remind you of last year's grade boundaries. This was the grade boundary that we had last year, summer 2023. So these are the total marks that you needed. And so per paper for a grade 3 you needed 11 marks, for grade 4 you needed 16, grade 5 is 27. So that is our target, from 16 to 49. So we will make a start towards that. So let's get started. Here is question 1. I will give you a few moments. Have a go. And if you are joining live, within the description is the exam paper, so you can download the exam paper as we go through this. Press pause and have a go. If you need more time, when you're ready, just press play and carry on. So let's look at how we solve this. So question 1a, work out 2 and 1/7 plus 1 and a quarter. So we can see what topic is this. This is mixed numbers and we're adding them. So this, how do we solve this? Step 1, we need to change this to an improper fraction. Okay, so we need to make sure that we have these as an improper fraction. Now I can see that I've got a denominator of 7 and a denominator of 4, so I need to make this the same denominator. So step 2 will be to have the LCM, lowest common multiple, of 7 and 4. So what number does 7 and 4 go into? Once I've made the denominators, the bottom numbers the same, I can then add them. Step 3 is add. And then once I've added them, I can then change back to step 4, I can change back to a mixed number. So I can simplify and change back to mixed numbers. Now notice, before I kind of carry on, notice that fractions has come up on quite a few paper 1. So this is definitely a topic that you must revise. It will come up because it's coming up on every single paper 1. We've had adding, we've had subtracting, we've had dividing. So this is a topic that you must be practicing. So how do we do this? So remember, the denominator we multiply and the numerator we add. So the bottom number we multiply and the top number we add to this. So we're going to do 7 times 2. 7 times 2, or 2 times 7. 7 times 2 is 14, and then I add the numerator, which is plus 1. So 14 plus 1 gives me 15. So my denominator will be over 7, 15 over 7, plus the other denominator is going to be 4. So I'm going to put that there before I forget. The other day I was doing this in a hurry and I made that mistake. So just be careful about that. So again, 1 times 4 gives me 4. And then add the numerator. 4 plus 1 gives me 5. So this is 5 over 4. Okay. Now that is there, now I need to look for the LCM of 7 and 4. What do both of these numbers go into? 7 go the 7 times table, 14, 21, 28, and so on. And the 4 times table, 4, 8, 12, all the way, and I spot that they both go into 28. 7, 14, 21, 28. So now what do I do to this fraction? What do I need to multiply to make this 28? And similar here, what do I need to multiply this with to get to 28? This is adding, so 7 times 4 gives me 28. 15 times 4 gives me 15, 30, 45, 60. 5 times, so 4 times something gives me 28, so it has to be 7. 4 times 7 is 28. 5 times 7 is 35. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, so now that the denominators are the same, I can add them together. So 60 plus 35 gives me 95. So this is now 95 over 28. Now I'm looking for any numbers. So I'm on my step 4 now. Can I simplify this? Are there any numbers that go into 95 and 28? They're not even numbers. It ends in a 5, ends in an 8. So I can't divide by 5. I can't divide by 10 because they don't end in a 0. If I add the digits, can I divide by 3? 9 plus 5 is 14. 3 doesn't go into 14, so I can't do any more. So I now need to look at my 28 times table. 28, the next one will be 60 to add 2 more gives me 30, so double that is 60, take away 4 is 56, gives me 2, add another 28, 66, 76, 76, 84. 84 is 3 times, so my fraction, my whole number is 3, and from 84 I need to get to 95, so that's adding more. How many more? 84, 94 is 10, so that's 11 over 28. If I look at my remainder, can I simplify this? 11 divided by 28. 11 is a prime number, and 11 doesn't go into 28, so there are no more numbers. So that is my final answer. So a lot of work for the first question, and that is worth 2 marks. I've shown you the longest possible way. There are obviously shortcuts. You can do a lot of this in your head so that you can get to the answer. So that's question 1. So let's go to our tally just to bank how many marks we've got. So that's 2 marks. We're heading towards 11 marks so that we get our grade 3. Let's look at the next question. Okay, question 1, part B. I'll give you a few moments to try that question. Okay, if you need more time, press pause. And once you're ready, press play. If you have an answer, write that in the description. I'll check if you're correct or not. Okay, let me continue. So work out 1 and 1/5 divided by 3/4. Give your answer as a mixed number in its simplest form. Okay, so what are the steps here? So we're still on the topic of mixed numbers. We have got division, so we've got mixed numbers dividing. So step 1 is similar to before. Change this to improper fractions. Improper fractions. So the top number, the numerator, will be bigger than the denominator. Step 2 is for dividing. I need to keep them the same, the first term. Change the divide into a multiply and flip the other one. So I'm going to do keep, change, and flip, KCF. Step 3 is I'm going to simplify, okay, or cancel down, cancel out. Step 4, I'm going to then calculate, and then step 5, I am going to change back to a mixed number. Change to mixed number. So let's do this. So we've done this similar to what we did before. 1 times 5. 1 times 5 equals 5. Add the numerator. 5 plus 1 equals to 6. So this will become 6 over 5 divided by, my denominator is still 4, so 3 over 4. This doesn't need any work. So I've done that part. So now I do keep, change, and I flip. So this stays as it is, 6 over 5. I change the divide into a multiply, and I swap these round. So this now becomes 4 over 3. So I've got my step 2. Now I need to simplify or cancel out step 3. So I'm going to look vertically. Is there anything common between 6 and 5? Nothing. 4 and 3, there's nothing common between them. Let me check diagonally. 5 and 4, there's nothing in common. But if I look here, I've got something in common between 6 and 3. I can divide by 3. I can divide by 3. So that becomes 2. And that becomes 1. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2 times 4. 2 times 4 all over 5 times 1. So that is 2 times 4 is 8. 5 times 1 is 5. So how many times is 5 going to 8? That is once. What's my remainder? 6, 7, 8, 3 over 5. So that is my final answer. Okay. So let me go back to my tally. This is worth another 2 marks. So I have banked 2 more marks. Okay, it's a nice start to the test. And I'm on towards 11 marks to get my grade 3. Right. Now, I'm not going to jump to question 2. In my previous videos, I've kind of flicked through all the pages. I am going to jump to question 9. Okay, and I'll explain why in a second, just to save time. Now, if you think about it, if you look at, for example, athletics or a football match, when it comes to a big game, you see that the players are doing a warm-up. They don't just go straight into the final match. They do a warm-up. So in a similar way, for our exam, it's important to read all of the questions. And as you're reading all the questions, all the easy ones that you come across, you should be answering and banking those marks. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm going through the paper, and I've found that question 9 of this exam paper is quite easy. So that's why I'm skipping. So press pause and have a go at this question. And put your answer in the chat if you've got an answer. Press pause. If you need more, if you are done or if you need more time, press pause and carry on. Once you're ready, press play. I'm going to answer this. So write down the value of 36 to the power half. So the quickest thing is to recognize as a power, if I have half, that is the same as a square root. So the answer to this is the square root of 36. What's the square root of 36? What number times by itself twice gives me 36? Has to be 6. So the square root of 36 is 6. So that's my answer. I've just banked 1 mark. So let me add my tally. So I've only answered a few questions and I'm on 5. I'm getting closer to my 11, my grade 3. Here is the next question. Okay, press pause and have a go. When you're ready, press play. Write down the value of 23 to the power 0. Now you need to remember anything to the power 0 is always 1. So this is simply 1. So that's another nice, easy mark that I have banked. Okay, so I've now got 6 marks. And you can see the warm-up strategy is working. Okay, here is the next question. I'll give you a few moments to answer this question. And if you need more time, then just press pause Once you are ready, press play for the answer. Work out the value of 27 to the power minus 2 over 3. So there's a few things going on here. When I have a number, if I have a power that is a negative with a fraction. So first of all, I've got step 1 here. Step 1 is, this is a reciprocal. Step 2 is my root. And then step 3 is my numerator of the power, which is a power. Okay, so what does reciprocal mean? Reciprocal, if we have, for example, 2 over 3 becomes 3 over 2, we swap them. Now, if you have a number like this, if you think about the number, say, let me just make something up, 4. How do I turn this to a fraction? It's 4 over 1. What's the reciprocal of 4 over 1 is 1 over 4. So that's what I'm doing with this number here. So I'm going to do step 1 first, which is reciprocal. So it becomes 1 over 27. And then it's 2 over 3. So I've got that. So I've done my step 1. Now I need to do my step 2, which is root. So I need to do, this is 3. So it's going to be the cube root of 27. And then I'm going to do step 3, which is raised to the power, which is 2. So if I work on the root, what number times by itself 3 times gives me 27? Okay, 1 times 1 times 1 is not 27. 2 times 2, 1 times 1 times 1 is not 27. 2 times 2 times 2 is not 27. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. That's not 27. So if I do 3 times 3 times 3, that is 27. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So this is 27. So I'm going to go here. 1 over the cube root of 27 is 3. And that's squared. Let me just separate my working out. So what's 3 squared? That's 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So I've got 1 over 9. That is my final answer. So I've now banked another 2 marks. Okay, so I've not taken a long time, and I've already banked 5, 6, 7, 8 marks. I'm very close to getting a grade 3. Okay, the next question is question 10. Okay, I'll give you a few moments to have a go with this question. And this is worth 3 marks. Okay, so there we have it. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready, press play for the answer. Question 10. The table gives some information about the heights of 80 girls. So I've got all of this information. Draw a box plot to represent this information. So what does a box plot look like? I've got a box, and in the middle is my median. And then I've got whiskers here. So this is my minimum value. This is my maximum value. And here I have my lower quartile and my upper quartile. So that's what I'm doing here. So what's my minimum value? Least height is 133. Okay, so I can see here there are 10 squares. So 10 boxes equals 130 to 140, 10 units. So each box represents 1 unit. 1 box equals 1 unit. So when I'm drawing this accurately, I can plot it well. So I'm looking for 133. So I'm just looking for 3 boxes. 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to draw 1, 2, 3 there. And I like to put the number there at the top as well, 133, just so that it's easy for me to work out later on. So that's my least value. My greatest value is 170, so that's nice and easy. 170 is there. 170. My lower quartile is 145, so that's easy. It's in between 140 and 150. 145. The next one is my upper quartile, 157. So that's 150 and 160. So it's 3 squares from 160. $157. And my median is 151. So from 151, I'm just jumping one box. So 151. And I'm just going to make it look like that. So I'm going to connect these lines. And that is my box plot done. 3 more marks banked. So let's add that to the tally. Add that to the tally. 1, 2, 3. I now have got 11 marks. I'm on my grade 3. So now I need to get to my grade 4. Another 5 more marks to get to my grade 4. Okay, here is question 10b. Again, press pause and have a go. I'll give you a few seconds. Once you're ready, you can press play. Question 10b. Work out an estimate for the number of these girls with a height between 133 centimeters and 157 centimeters. Okay, so there's quite a lot to do here. So I need to somehow connect this, work out an estimate for the number of these girls with a height between 133 and 157. So I can see I've got 133 here and I've got 157 there. So I need to somehow use this number and get an estimate. So first of all, step 1 is I need to recall my box plot facts. Box plot facts. Okay, so I need to remember what box plots are and then connect it to this too. So using that knowledge, I need to find out an estimate. So calculate or estimate. Now, box plots are separated into 25%. So each part is 25%. There are 4 parts. So each part is 25%. So I am told there are 80 girls altogether. So the total is equal to 80. So that's a key fact that I've got there. So 133 is here and 157 is here. So I've got 25%, 25%, 25%. So if I can work out what 25% is of 80, so 25% of 80 equals, well, 25% is divided by 4, so 80 divided by 4. Okay, so I can keep simplifying this. 80 divided by 2, 80 divided by 2 is 40. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And so 40 divided by 2 is 20. So each part represents 20. So 25% represents 20, 25% is 20, 25% represents 20. So I've got 20, 40, 60. So my estimate is 60. Okay, so I've recalled my box plots facts, 25%, and then I've calculated using that 25% of 80, so 20, 20, 20, so I've got 60. So that's worth another 2 marks. So a little bit tricky there, but again, not as hard as some of the other questions. So I have banked another 2 questions. 2 marks I've banked, and I'm now on 13 marks. I'm very close to getting to 14 marks to get my grade 4. Okay, so which question are we going to go to next? So the next question after 10 is question 13. We're going to jump to question 13. Now, if you are new to the channel, subscribe if you haven't. And if you're watching this now, make sure you click the like button. Let's go to question 13. Okay, have a go. Press pause and have a go. Okay, so this one looks tricky, but it's not as tricky as it looks. So let's read this question and see what we need to do. Question 13, root 5 brackets is the same as times root 8 plus root 18 can be written in the form a root 10, where a is an integer. Find the value of a. So what are the steps to work this one out? So step 1, I've got 5, 8, 18, and they connect to 10 somehow. So first of all, step 1 is I'm going to simplify these numbers. Okay, simplify. So can I simplify? 5 is a prime number, so I can't do that. So I need to look at 8, if I can simplify that, and 18. Okay, so that's my step 1. Step 2 is once I have simplified this, I can replace them in here, substitute, and then expand the bracket. So replace or substitute, replace, and expand brackets. And then step 3, once I've expanded the brackets, I then need to simplify. And so step 3 and 4, if you like, could be the same, but I'll just kind of make it explicit. Once I've simplified, I want to match it with my question. Match with question. So those are my steps. So how do I simplify surds? So I need to remember my square numbers. So 1 times 1 equals 1. 2 times 2 equals to 4. 3 times 3 equals to 9. 4 times 4 equals to 16. 5 times 5 equals to 20. So those are my numbers that I've got. I don't need to go anymore because 18 is the largest one here. So I'm going to stop here. So 5 is a prime number. I don't need to do anything. If I look at 4, I can see, if I look at 8, I can see 4 goes into 8. So root 8 is the same as root 4 times root 2. What's the square root of 4? Is 2 times root 2. So I can rewrite this as 2 root 2. Next one. So I do a similar thing with root 18. I can see that 9 goes into 18. So root 9 times root 2. 9 times 2 is 18. So root 9 is, square root of 9 is 3 times root 2, or 3 root 2. So I've simplified this. So now, step 2, I replace and expand the bracket. So I'm going to have this here, root 5, bracket, root 8 is 2 root 2, plus root 18, which is that, plus 3 root 2. And so I've replaced it, now I need to expand it. So I've got root 5 times 2 root 5. So root 5 times 2 root 5 plus root 5 times 3 root 2. So I've got this bit here, so I can put the roots together. So I've got 2 root 5 times root 2. 5 times 2 is 10. Do the same, similar here. 3 root 2 times 5. Can put them together. 2 times 5 is 10. So can you see I've got root 10 and root 10. They're the same, so I can add them together. I'm on my step 3 now. 2 plus 3 is 5 root 10. And then I need to match it with my question, a root 10. So the question says, find the value of a. A is equal to 5. That's my final answer. Okay, so that's worth another 3 marks. 1, 2, 3. I've got 5, 10, 15, 16 marks. I'm on my grade 4 now. I need to get to grade 5, so I need another 4 and 7 is 11 marks, 11 more marks. Okay, so if you are enjoying this video, share this with your friends. Let your friends know so that they are getting ready for their exams. So let's go to the next question, which is, let's look at question 14. Is that a nice, easy one? It's a reasonable one. Okay, question 14. Question 14 is a reasonable one. Let's have a go. Press pause and have a go. When you are ready, press play. Right, question 14. Y is inversely proportional to d squared. When d equals 10, y equals 4. D is directly proportional to x squared. When x equals 2, d equals 24. Find a formula for y in terms of x. Give your answer in its simplest form. So we've got quite a lot of words here, but let's look at each part. So you've got the first part, the second part, and the third part. So you've got part 1. Part 1 is y is inversely proportional. So we've got inverse proportion. Okay, so how do we do inverse proportion? Step 1 for that is we turn this into an equation. So y equals inverse proportion is k over something. So that's my inverse proportion. You can see y is inversely proportional to d squared. So we do that. And then step 2 within that is I substitute the values. I've got numbers here. I replace them. So substitute to find k. Once I find k, I can turn this into an equation. So step 3 is an equation. Okay, so that's what I do with this. Then my second part, line 3 and line 4, part 2, is directly proportional. I'm doing direct proportion. So what is direct proportion? It's similar to this. Step 1, y equals this time k times something. That's what direct proportion is. And then I've got step 2 and step 3. It's similar. In fact, it's the same. Step 3, which is substitute to find k. And then step 3 is I'll have an equation. So it does have lots of little parts here. And then part 3 is I'm going to connect y and x. So I'm going to link part 2 and part 1. Link part 1 and part 2. Okay, so if I follow these steps now, I should be able to get that. So it is a little bit long, but it is easier to do than when we break it down into steps. So let's get started. So y is inversely proportional. So y is inversely proportional. So k over d squared. I've got d squared. So now I've got to substitute the value. So d is 10. So d is 10 squared. Y is 4. So y is 4. So I've got k here. Okay, so I can bring this to the top. So this becomes 4 times 10 squared is k. So 4 times 100. So k is 400. Okay, now I've got my substitute to find k. I've found k. Now I need to turn this to an equation, which is here. Y equals k is 400. 400 over d squared. So I've got that. Okay, so that's part 1 is done. So once you're putting in the numbers, it's kind of links together. It kind of like a chain. It's all connected. Let's look at part 2 now, direct proportion. So d is directly proportional to x squared. So d equals k times x squared here. D is directly proportional to x squared. So x squared. So I've got my numbers there. So now I need to do substitute to find k. So x is 2. I've got that information here. And I've got d is 24. So d is 24 equals k times x is 2, 2 squared. 24 equals k times 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. So now I want to find k. Opposite of times by 4 is divide by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. 6 equals to k. We cancel out. So that's k. So now I've got my substitute to find k. I can put k back into this equation. D equals 6 times x squared, or I can write this as d equals to 6x squared. Okay, so I've done my part 2. Now I need to link part 1 and 2. So I can see here, I've got y here, I've got d squared, and I've got d equals. So I'm going to put brackets around here. Whatever it says for d equals, I'm going to put that into here. So y equals 400 over, I'm going to put brackets, squared, and it's d equals all of that, 6x squared. Okay, so what is that? 400 squared means it's the same thing twice. Okay, so I'm multiplying them, and if I look at this, 400 over 6 times 6 is 36. X squared times x squared is x to the power 4. And I've just noticed my laptop battery is low, so let me just put the lead in so it doesn't shut down. Okay, so y equals to 400 over 36 x to the power 4. And that is my final answer. And that is worth, so you can see lots of little steps, but really everything kind of like a chain is connected, and it fits nicely to give me that final answer. So that is worth 5 marks there. So it took a little bit of time, but I got my 5 marks. Let's see where this takes me. So if I get 5 more marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks, 5, 10, 15, 21. I need 6 more marks to get my grade 5. So I'm so close to a grade 5. I've banked my grade 4. I'm very close to a grade 5. So can I get this done, get to that grade 5 before our time is up for today? So that was question 14. Let's If you're here for the first time, subscribe to the channel and share this with your friends because your exam is around the corner. Oh my goodness, look at 15A. How easy is this? All right, I'll give you a few moments. Try that, press pause and have a go. Okay, so remember I was saying about go through the exam paper, get your brain warmed up. And this is one of those classic easy questions. You can see this is a quadratic and it's got two terms, which means, and there's a negative. So usually this is what we call a difference of squares, plus and minus. So this will be a plus b, a minus b. And that is it. Nice, easy 1 mark banked. Okay. So after all that work, such a nice, easy question. Okay, so we've got that there banked. Let's look at part B. Now, part B is much more challenging. It's a little bit more tricky, but because we're on A, we might as well do B together since they are very much linked. So what are we doing? So I'll give you a few seconds. Have a go, press pause. When you're ready, press play for the answer. Okay, so let's look at this question. Hence or otherwise. So because it's saying hence, we're using this information. So part A is linked to part B. Hence or otherwise, simplify fully x squared plus 4 squared minus x squared take away 2 squared. So I have to, step 1, link part A to B. Okay, that is the key. Can I see a connection between this and this? If I can see that connection, then I can follow on from there. So because it's saying hence, it's kind of inviting you. There's an invitation here. Look at A, use this invitation for B. So step 2 is connect A, part A, and follow through. So let's see if we can make a connection. A squared minus B squared. X squared plus 4. I'm going to ignore the brackets. I've got a squared, take away another squared. So can you see that? So this is a difference of squares in a way. So this means that we've got this. So I'm going to have something plus something, something minus something. Okay, that is my connection. And this, all of this is my A. So A equals x squared plus 4. All of that, and B is all of that. B equals x squared minus 2. Okay, so now I've made that connection, part A. Now I need to kind of connect part A and follow through. So I need to put all of this into here. So because it's going to get confusing with round brackets, I'm going to introduce square brackets. So I'm going to put here brackets, and I'm going to put A in square brackets and B in square brackets. I'm going to do that here. So bracket, my A is x squared plus 4 plus B is x squared minus 2. And same thing again, I'm going to put A, which is x squared plus 4, square brackets, take away x squared take away 2. Okay, and now I kind of follow through. So I can see all of this is adding x squared plus x squared. So x squared plus x squared plus 4 take away 2. Okay, I can remove the square bracket. So x squared plus x squared is 2x squared. 4 take away 2 is plus 2. So I've got that bit here. Now this is the tricky bit because I've got a negative. So I'm going to put my bracket here. X squared plus 4 minus x squared. So this becomes a minus x squared. A negative and a negative makes a positive 2. So now I can simplify this. X squared take away x squared cancels each other out. 4 plus 2 gives me 6. So this is kind of, all of that complication is simplified to that. And I can now expand this, because hence or otherwise simplify fully. So I can leave it like that. And if I want to expand this out, I can do that as well. So this times that is 12x squared. And this times that is 12. 2 times 6 is 12. There we are. So 3 more marks there. I've banked 3 more marks. 1, 2, 3. I now have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I'm 2 marks away from a grade 5. All right, let's look at the next kind of easy question. So I'm kind of focusing on the relatively straightforward questions. Question 17. Okay. Again, if you like algebra, this looks really bad, but it's not as bad as it looks. Question 17. Have a go. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready, press play for the answer. Okay, question 17. Simplify fully. 3x squared, take away 8x, take away 3. 2x squared divided by 2x squared, take away 6x. So if I look at this, what topic is this? So I've got a quadratic and I've got a 3x squared. So it's a hard quadratic divided by the other quadratic. So step 1 is I need to factorize, because there's only 2 terms here. Let me factorize the bottom, the denominator. So factorize denominator. And then step 2 is I'm going to factorize the numerator. Factorize numerator. And then usually with these kind of questions, I'm going to have something that cancels out. So step 3 will be cancel out. That's what I'm looking for. So let me do this part first. So what goes into 2 and 6? I'm looking at the number part first. So 2 goes into 6 as well. If I look at it carefully, if I split this up, 2 times x, take away 2 times 3 times x. So I can see I've got a 2 here, and I've also got an x there. So I can take those out. So it gets 2x bracket x minus 3. So that part is factorized. So I'm going to put this here, 2x, x minus 3. Okay, now that's usually worth a method mark. Now, this is a tip. Because I've got x minus 3 or 2x, I'm going to be looking for this in here. Okay, so now I'm going to factorize 3x squared minus 8x minus 3. So if I look at this, usually something like this will have an x and an x because it's x squared. Now, what numbers, because 3 is a prime number, one of these has to be 3. So this is 3x. Now, if I look at what makes the number term 3, what numbers make 3, it has to be 1 times 3. So I'm going to show you a shortcut now. And this is what I'm doing is a shortcut. So because 1 times 3 make 3, they can go here. So I can put 1 here and 3 there and the other way around. Now look at this. Look at what I've got earlier. I've got minus 3 here. So the 3 must be in here. Minus 3. And the 1 must be in there. Now, how do I make 3? Negative 3 times positive 3. Okay, now just to check if this works, I'm going to expand this. So this was a shortcut that I've done. Okay, so I'm just going to get a piece of paper. Or actually, there's plenty of space here at the bottom of this. So I'm going to expand this. 3x plus 1, x minus 3. This is 3x squared. 3 times 3 is 9, so minus 9x. 1 times x is plus 1x. Plus and a minus make a minus. 1 times 3 is 3. So this simplifies to 3x squared minus 9 plus 1 is minus 8x minus 3. So you can see that matches that. So this is a shortcut that I've done. Now, most of you will be familiar with another method, which is usually, I'm going to show, or actually, I'll come back to that, what you're usually familiar with. So this is what I have now. So I put this as my numerator, 3x plus 1, and x minus 3. And I can see they cancel out. So this is equal to 3x plus 1 all over 2x. And that is my final answer. So that's a nice quick way of doing that. Now going back to factorizing this, most of you are familiar with the other way, which is usually 3x squared minus 8x minus 3. I take my a term and my c term and I multiply them. 3 times 3 gives me 9. What makes 9? 1 times 9, 3 times 3. And so I'm looking at the next term, the b term, which one is connected to 8? Is that connected to 8? Yes, it is. Is this connected to 8? No, it's not. 9 take away 1 gives me 8. So then I'm going to split this into 2 parts. 3x squared. Because it's a negative, the bigger number will be negative. So 9 minus 9x plus 1x and minus 3. And then I'm going to factorize what's in these two. 3x. So 3x, take out x. 3 goes into 9 3 times. And then I want to have this there, so that can be the same, x minus 3, which means there must be a 1 there. And so because I've got x minus 3, I've got that here. 3x plus 1. And so I've got that. So there's a lot of working out. So you can do that, or you can just go for that technique of, I've spotted 3x squared, so it must be x times x. 3 is a prime number, so one of this has to be 3x. So 3x and x, and then you've got what makes 3, 1 times 3, and you just put the numbers there. So that's a much quicker way of factorizing this quadratic. So I hope that helps. It's a lot of information there if you're seeing this for the first time. So go back to the video and go back to the video and just watch through this. If you need to slow it down or speed it up, do that. But this is a nice technique to kind of get to the answer quickly. And some of you are on this video, so thank you. Keep liking the video and keep sharing this video. So this question is worth 3 marks. Let's go back to our tally. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, 27, 28. I have now got to 28 marks. So I've banked my grade 5. So I'm now on a grade 5. And I haven't even gone through the whole paper yet. I've just been focusing on some of the straightforward questions. Okay, so we're very close to the 1 hour mark. So I think there's enough time for one more question. So let's look at question 18. Okay, this question is worth 2 marks. So press pause and have a go. Now this question looks hard, but if you recognize that you've got y equals sine x, let me just focus a little bit. Okay, so you've got y equals sine x, so I'm going to write them underneath each other. Y equals sine x, and this one here is y equals sine x minus 2. So let me read the question. Here's the graph of y equals sine x from minus 180. X is less than 180 and bigger than minus 180. On the grid, sketch the graph of y equals sine x minus 2 for that. So if you notice, this part is the same. And this part is minus 2. So what this refers to is along the y-axis, I go down 2 units. And that's it. Because you've spotted that, we're looking for key points. So you've got, this is a key point, 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 and this is a key point. So all of these key points have to go down 2 units. So if this is 1, if I go down 2 units, it has to be at minus 1. So I'm going to have a point here. This will go down 2 units. So 1, 2 units. So from 0, I'm going to be at minus 2. This goes down 2 units. This goes down 1, 2 units. So from minus 1, you're at minus 3. And this goes down 2 units. So now I can just sketch my graph. Like a sine wave. And the key is those are my key points. So that's a nice, quick 2 marks there. Now, it is a tough, this topic, so these are 2 marks, 1, 2 marks, and now I am on 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 marks. I need 8 more marks to get to a grade 6. I'm very close to getting a grade 6 now. This topic, it is kind of, if you recognize that, it's so easy. So sometimes just practicing this topic and recognizing this, you've got other transformation of graphs, so practicing that will be helpful. So that's a nice kind of straightforward one. Right, we are very close to the hour mark and we are very close to ending. So let's go back to the paper, the questions that I have skipped. So let's go to one of the initial ones that looks a little bit hard, but is not too bad. Let's go to question number 6. Question 6. And some of you are joining me late. You can rewatch the video, share this with your friends. Right, so here is question 6. And I will do a part 2 where all the questions that I've skipped, I will cover. Oops-a-daisy, excuse me. But what I am trying to show you is we're trying to bank the easy marks. And using that analogy of, you know, the football match where you don't just go into a match, you do a warm-up. So all of the easy marks we've banked. So this question, question 6, is now worth 5 marks. So we can now start spending our time on these kind of tougher questions. And we've kind of banked our easy marks, and we can spend a bit more time on these harder questions. So that's the purpose of going through the whole paper, doing the easy questions, and then coming back to the harder questions. And sometimes these harder questions are actually become a bit easier because our brain is warmed up. All right, I'll give you a few seconds. Have a go at this question. Let me try and focus this. Okay, press pause if you need more time, and then continue by pressing play. So let's go through this. Question 6, a pattern is made from 4 identical squares. The sides of the squares are parallel to the axes. So 4 identical squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are parallel to the x-axis and parallel to the y-axis. Point A has coordinate 6, 7, so I've got 6, 7 here. X-axis, y-axis, so I'm going to label this 6, and y-axis, I'm going to label that 7. Point B has coordinates 38, 36, so 38, 36 is here, so x-axis again. So x-axis, this is 38, and y-axis, this is 36. Okay, so we've got that. Point C is marked on the diagram. I've got this point here. Work out the coordinates of C. So this is a bit of a tricky question. So how do I work this out? So I've got key information there. What am I doing? So this is a problem-solving question. So there are many ways to solve this. The way I am going to solve it is step one. I am going to, so I'll write it at the top. Step one, I am going to look at the distance of x and y. This must be relevant. So distance of x or y. And hopefully I can then connect this to 4 identical squares. So step 2 is connect to squares. Okay, so this axis must be related to these 4 squares. And step 3, I can maybe somehow work backwards or forwards using these coordinates. And then after I've done that, I can then hopefully go towards writing my coordinate. Okay, so I've started this problem by saying I've got 6 here and 38 there. So what is this distance? 38 take away 6 gives me, 8 take away 6 is 2, so 32. So this is 32. So that's going to be interesting. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. That distance is 32. So the distance of one square must be, I must divide this by 4. 32 divided by 4 is the same. I can half this, 16 over 2, and half it again, which is 8. So each unit of this square must be 8. 8 and 8. So I've connected it to the squares. Now I can work backwards or forwards. So if I look at my x, this is 6. If I add 8 more, 6 plus 8 equals 14. So this must be 14. Add another 8. 14 plus 8 equals 22. This is 22. Hold on a second. I've got my x coordinate. So this is x and this is y. So I've got my x coordinate is 22. Okay, let me look at my y part. If I go up in y's, it's in the middle of this, so that doesn't really help me. So now I can try working backwards, maybe from this coordinate. So I've got, this is my y coordinate, 36. So 36, and it's 8, so I'm going down. So I'm going to take away 8. 36 take away 8 is 28. So this one here is 28. And then I'm going to take away another 8. So 28 take away 8 gives me 20. So this is now 20. Hold on a second. This is the same across here. So this is my y coordinate, 20. And so I've got my coordinates. Along the corridor 22, up the stairs 20. So I've gone backwards and I've got my coordinates for C, which is 22, 20. Let me make it nice and clear. 22, 20. And this is worth 5 marks. So let me go back to my tally. Oh my goodness. So 5 more marks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I'm 3 marks away from a grade 6. All right, so if you have enjoyed today's paper, I will try and do another paper tomorrow. Subscribe to the channel so that you get the live feeds. I'll do a survey, what time is good for tomorrow. And all the questions that I've missed out on, I will redo. So I hope you've enjoyed these videos. So subscribe to the channel and I will see you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Bye-bye.